Give him ups.
Runner up.
Give him
Runner up.
ass. Get up, please.
Hajime!
Let it go. It's a dead.
He's too far out. We can't pull like this.
I blame Zuckerberg.
Another reason why you actually move into the light
this is the
instead of
reason.
being a fucking dindu out there.
This is the reason why you move to star the first thing you do, because
And he does this every time.
Every time.
stack on
And
star.
people say that you don't
I mean,
actually
like,
need to stay here.
half the people that say
Can't
they're stacked
blame
on star
them,
aren't
they're
stacked on
priests.
star. Like,
Yeah.
I can only see the fat fucked horns right now, but if you are, hold on,
Whoa.
like, if I'm
Don't
mess up
discriminate.
circle for a second. If you aren't circle, you're also on the wrong spot. Just saying, like, this is the right spot. This is not the right
You
spot.
can't be behind triangles.
Correct.
Just
Wrong. Correct.
just for
Correct.
just for like
Wrong.
argument's sake.
Correct. They're still not moving. Like, what the fuck?
Just for argument's sake, we did
Moke's
bully our
burning
Shadow
down.
Priest out of the guild on or on Anathema before we killed it. So
Oh yeah, I think.
that person may or not be dead.
We have to wait until Vanderhoff comes back because
He's
back.
jumping.
He's jumping. Come to star, please.
Dindu
Please come to star. Okay.
and he's still stacked incorrectly.
Hey, go. Nah.
Soldiers of the cold dark,
Check
obey the call of
Check your front
Kel'thuzad.
spot. Food buff still
Check your
down.
gear.
So what do you think
My
about
gear is
Lauren?
glorious. Thank
Check
you.
your privilege.
No.
What do you think about Lauren Southern?
Persistent.
Fucking hot.
Scunt.
Isn't she?
Oh, I know a girl named that.
Isn't she like just be like offensive just for the
3
sake of
pounds
being
of
offensive?
makeup.
with no
Here's a
reason?
link to my Patreon.
I heard that there's a phrase for what she is. It's like someone with conservative thoughts, but someone who isn't settled down or something. It's called.
Trend thought. Trend.
Yeah, that one.
A tread thought.
Yeah, it's yeah, but nice
Traditional
trend
thought.
thought.
Trend
Yeah,
thought.
it's like that really resonates really well with me.
A-bomb.
Southeast.
Wait, what's the term?
Trad thought. Like instead of traditional wife, it's like traditional thought.
Be gone.
What qualifies as a trap?
You have to like have traditional values, but not actually live up to them. Like,
Okay.
Like you're like what? You're like traditional. But you're not like married and stuff.
I think those are called sluts.
Cowboy slut.
she has a sister, by the way, who is equally as hot.
Equally as thought.
I have Google this.
Like at this point, I'm firmly in degrees of thought. Cam.
I think you've gone too far, Seppo.
I've never seen a girl, a woman that wasn't a thought. So
Your guild leader's an incel. What are you gonna do about it?
incels are part of your tech companies. What are you gonna do about it? No, it's
We'll
I'm
never
not,
get to
I'm not
Mars.
an incel. Like I could probably get pussy if I want to do.
Oh, terrible.
I just
Ball
literally
cell.
don't want. Not worth the trouble.
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
dude.
Low cell.
Yeah, there's false
False.
cells.
It's
There's also brain cells.
it's more like straight up. Like I think I went
You mean
past
belt
both.
bender?
I think I went past both, so I'm like straight up asexual at this point.
Only
WoW gets him off.
I'm actually
Buzz,
straight up lying.
hit the boss.
I find girls somewhat disgusting actually.
This is
On a very deep fundamental level.
That's mainly because it's like you might as well be talking to your fucking cat most of the time.
It's, yeah, like, they're so, most women are so fucking retarded. I actually want to throw up every time they open their
Oh,
mouth.
yeah.
Like,
Here
it's
we
so
go.
disgusting.
I'm gonna stand in front of Moke soon.
I've been thinking about it for some time, and I think like you probably don't have it, but there's like a personality disorder called schizoid. You should look into that.
Probably.
You have some traits with
He's a schizo, boys.
No, not schizophrenic. It's not saying it's called schizoid. Schizoid personality
that?
disorder. It's someone who's like generally cold, like sexually apathetic, and yeah, that's another interesting. Like usually a loner. Doesn't like to go
Surely
out.
everyone here has that.
Sounds like you
List off more things so I can like know at least one of
What?
them's wrong.
Let me give my DSM after this, and I'll list it.
It has blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah, there's a fucking skelly.
Ah, what?
You have blonde hair.
Yeah.
Light brown, I'd say.
Civilian.
I'm
G kick him.
Not blonde.
What?
Well, technically I don't have hair right now, so it's not even really...
Are you
shave
an
it off.
alien?
Nah, shave it off.
Sapphire is secretly a you.
A Jew? Very much not a Jew.
All things.
Schizoid personality disorder. Oh, no. What are we uncovering here?
Truth.
Not like where this is going.
Most people
Ah,
can't
to be
handle
fair,
it.
you're probably more social than someone who would have real schizoid, but
Yeah, implying I'm social
a lot of
at all.
people have different traits of personality disorder, and that struck
That's
me
just
when I-
because
It's
they
the
love
hip one right
labeling
now.
stuff.
Like my ideal social life is what we're doing right now. Like, just playing
Yikes.
like
It's like every time you go to the fucking pub, you regret it.
nigga go to pubs.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's so far I'm so far detached from normal life. At this point, I get triggered by normal people. Like
Yeah, indeed.
if they're a normal people thing, but then like I internally so hard that like I start sweating and like I have to leave.
There's a fan board for that. It's
Cool
the
down,
R9K.
boys.
Like,
We're doing
I'm quite okay with taking it.
Kill yourself at your
Yeah,
convenience.
but yeah, okay, chill yourself without
Phase
killing.
1 ending.
Yeah, we're getting serious time now.
Kill yourself without killing yourself, and also without killing the tank.
Heal him!
Hi.
Comms clear, please.
Fast reels, come on. Queue him up.
Okay, no,
Weaver?
Next phase 1 we'll have more.
Quick taunt for this one.
There isn't gonna be a next phase one.
There isn't, no one fucks up.
Smokes here, right?
What's really good is that we're getting the kiting phase down really well.
Vanneroth, watch out.
Don't run into banshees now. Look before you move.
Pick
Hide,
2 next.
hide your camera next zoomed out and watch your surroundings. Like star
Move,
group, there's a
circle.
weaver. Star group, there's a weaver.
Oh, Skull, Burpee.
Weaver coming
3
towards
next.
Oh, Millie.
triangle. Get away from the weaver.
Pick 1 next.
Stack up,
Circle,
stack up.
move.
Look at your ground. Always dodge the void zones.
I have timer for
Pick 2 next.
Frost blast and
Frost blast in 6 seconds. Tanks should run out.
Thank you.
At this point.
You gotta
And then
move back
watch
in.
the
if
frost
it-
blast window. That's
Yeah,
really
move
well.
back in if
Kick 3 next.
Be rigorous with the kick assignments. Listen to this.
Thanks,
Pick 1 next.
Keep really up. Let me tank, please. Burpee!
Let me cast.
No.
Oh, live, just
Hi. Kick 2 next.
Okay, luckily it's on the tank. Keep going. Kick 2.
Kick 3 next.
Alright, 3 is next. Shut up.
Frost blast and 5.
Kick 1 next.
Frost blast and 2.
Frost blast soon.
Kick 2 next.
watch out.
Kick 3 next. Another frostbite.
Ooh, that was spicy.
Yeah,
Kick 1
blast.
next.
Went out.
Frost blast
Forward.
out.
Heal more.
Kick 2 next.
Yes, go. Oh, it's fine. Sorry.
Fafnir,
Fire
remember you.
control and 5.
Kick 3 next.
Ignore me.
Okay, stop DPS,
Stop DPS.
Stop DPS, stop DPS, stop DPS, stop DPS.
Don't let ignore.
Kick 1 next.
Yes, go has it.
CC from Brute.
Kick 2 next.
Oh my god.
Frost blast in 3.
Please keep comms clear.
Frost blast in 2, run out.
Move.
Kick 3 next.
Went out.
Melee.
Yikes. Yikes.
No heals whatsoever. Feels bad, man.
Kick 1 next.
Okay, do we have a better rest marker?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, use it on me when we get to phase 3. Don't use it now.
Ping now, so I know where.
I'm in
Melee.
pretty much
Kick 2
dead
next.
center, like here.
Okay. Good.
Just remember, because I need to kite.
Frost blast and 5.
Yeah.
Kick 3 next. Thanks out.
Suffer, what kick group were you?
1.
Okay, thank you.
Kick 1 next.
Mind control incoming.
Blast
Went
out.
out.
Mind
Fire
control,
and 5.
stop damage.
Two next.
There's no frost blast for the
Let me
next
tank has it.
seconds. Just get the kicks. Get
Kick
the
3
kicks.
next.
If you
Fritzy
don't,
boy has it.
if you don't see the frost blast coming up, you can like aggressively
Kick
run
one next.
after him to kick.
You're
Alright, frost blast coming up in 5 seconds.
challenge to the might of the
Kick 2 next.
Hands out. Frost blast is live. Frost blast is live. Do not be stacked.
Kick 3 next.
Fissure, do not be stacked. Do not run into the next melee group. First place is still live.
Kick 1
Are we
next.
pushing this or what are we doing?
No,
Yeah, why
stop
not?
damage,
Hey,
stop
frost
damage,
blast.
stop damage, stop damage.
Heal.
We are stopping damage and waiting for mic control.
You're petty.
Stop DPS,
A
boys.
new
Stop
challenge
DPS.
to the might of the
Ready your
Kick 2
push and
next.
cooldowns. Ready your push and cooldowns for when this is pushed.
Combat dressing.
Yep.
Bandage in between.
Careful with the volley.
Top me off like right away because volley. Frost blast coming up together with the mic
Kick
control.
3 next.
Let me tank, please.
Frost blast in 5 seconds. Frost blast in 5 seconds.
You're
Kick 1 next.
Frost blast is
Control.
live.
CC trucks.
So get
Frost
here.
blast is live. Do not stack. Do not stack. Do not stack. Stabilize it. Okay, this is like the perfect time to push it.
You push
We're
hard
pushing-
here. You push
Yeah,
Kick
we're
2
pushing
next.
it here. Keep these
Up
kick
frost
groups alive
blast.
while we do the shotguns. Everyone frost pot now.
Up
Everyone frost pot now.
I
Can
require
you dispel that
Square cross.
Cardboard
Kick
thing?
3 next.
Frost blast is still live, by the way.
You're gonna be coming out
Use your
now.
engineering
Kick 1
devices.
next.
Shield wall.
deflectors.
Frost blast is out. Shield wall if you can.
I'm killing you, bro.
Kick 2 next.
Alright, I got third one. I got cross. I got third.
Okay, I'm shuttling
The
you.
noob's out.
Kick
Cross.
3
No
next.
more
Full stack
shackles.
back. Full stack
Like
back.
I'm tank anywhere but
That's
Frost
fine.
smoke.
Shackling X
Reshackling.
right there.
Reshackling.
Kick
more
1
shackles.
next.
Is this your circle? Wait,
Yeah, I have cross. I have cross.
Okay, I got the other one then.
Possible Kick mind 2
Circle
next.
has.
No! Why
Bro,
you
bro.
shackle that?
Wait, hold on.
Stop
Okay,
DPS. Stop DPS.
Possible mind control.
okay, wait. Cross is loose now because.
Kick 3 next.
Hold on. I'm shackling cross. Don't reshackle something. Alright, cross is shackled.
Shielding Sepho.
Let me tank please. Shield wall.
Do not AoE.
Drop
I need a
totems.
quick
Slow
hamstring.
totems.
Frost blast.
I need a quick hamstring on
Kick
purple.
2 next.
Dispelling yourself.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
will
it.
freeze
Oh,
the
no.
blood in your veins.
Kick 3 next.
Heal Sephi.
I got your Sephic.
Mine's loose, mine's
I have
loose.
Kick 1 next.
Keep Doken alive for my kite now.
Speaking of
Raid
intercept,
Delta.
tokens, intercept mine.
Kick 2 next.
Seppi.
We healed trucks.
Keep Doken and Kel'thuzad alive for kiting.
Kick 3 next.
Trucks is tanking. Heal me.
Square ball.
Reshackling cross.
Possible frost blast in 2.
I'm intercepting yours.
Alright, be spread here for frost blast.
Stay
Nick,
alive.
on it.
Heal trucks.
Kick 1 next.
Cross is loose.
No, cross is not.
Possible
Big
mind
heals and
control.
drugs.
Cross is loose.
cross
and
is
I'm
loose,
shackling
okay.
it. I got it. I got
Mind
it.
control.
Keep healing
Use
trucks.
every cooldown. Trucks.
Kick
Get
2
this.
next.
Keep it up a little
I
longer.
need a hamstring on
MC
mine. I need a
coming.
hamstring on mine.
I need on my.
Heal trucks. Heal trucks.
Kick
Hold on.
3 next.
I need heal. Quick.
Kiters use shield wall when necessary.
MC.
That's
Get
the
on
mic
the tank.
A new
Smoke.
challenge to the might
There's
of
no
the
more mind control. And last frost blast.
Kick
versus
1
without.
next.
Oh, cooldowns.
Melee on the boss stack, just fuck him up and keep the stack, keep the
Keep it
kicks up.
cool. Keep it steady.
I'm dead. Loose.
Reshackle
I'm gonna pick
cross.
it up.
Kick 2
Reshackle
next.
cross. Someone needs to take over cross.
I have purple.
Close.
Oh, Doken's down.
For the mic.
Alright, nuke the
Just
boss,
nuke
nuke
it,
the boss,
nuke
nuke the
it.
boss, nuke the boss, nuke the
A
boss.
new challenge to the might of the scourge.
Everything you have, keep it alive.
Hit it like you fucking mean it.
Boss
This is
him
a kill.
up.
This is a kill, boys.
Yes! Yes!
Yo, Oh, the could we tank kite- shield, could the we tank
Big
kite it
crossbow.
any longer?
Oh,
Fucking minute kite.
Good shit, boys.
Hey, double hunter bow.
Fuck you. Be good crossbow.
Double hunter
did you guys
bow,
get?
warlock ring, and hunter ring. Yes.
We got the tanking shield.
Yo, shout out to
You got
whoever
the,
was
uh,
healing me, boys. Shout out to whoever was healing me.
So, who's coming next week?
Yeah, next week, same time.
Nice knowing you guys.
Brad spell paper, dude. You deserve it, my man.
Kill
Couldn't have done it without you.
It would have took easier.
Yeah, we're taking screenshots.
I was there.
That's Mokes, this is where you say, I demand the shield or I quit.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
really
yeah.
that good though? I
To
mean,
be
Yeah,
fair,
like, I know it
It's
has
not,
a lot of
no,
armor,
no,
but
it's not.
yeah, I don't think it's that good. Like
I have
compared
a
to the
real
other ones.
question first. What's the plus DKP for this?
Game
Oh, yeah,
beat
yeah,
Rip,
and no wall ducks
rip progression DK.
whatsoever.
I need to know how much to spend on the phylactery.
yeah. I don't think it's a DKP bid.
Alright, okay, so
Fucking
this
kill
has
me,
been a
dude. Look at
journey.
me.
Okay, so
You're right
Oh,
next
can someone fucking res me? I want to see the loot.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Whew.
That's pretty dank.
That's what makes Seppi sweat, not women. Understandable.
right now.
You should get your blood sugar checked out.
Now we get to do it all over again.
I don't think he'll make it to another KT. He might die before that.
Trade,
Yeah, you should probably ask that process.
trade coppers after you receive these items.
Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do here is create a poll. And obviously it's anonymous and it would
One
be really
more
cool if you
week.
can fill this out. It's a very simple poll. It's the question of like, do you want to continue raiding and clearing Nax, or do you want to just rather say, okay, we beat the game at this point, time to focus on fresh. The reason I'm asking this is because if it's painfully obvious that we're not gonna continue raiding on this server, then we have the options to A, meme with the loot a little at least, and also it also just makes it so that we can like say our goodbyes with, you know, everyone being aware of it. The reason for this is the following. If say 15 people say I'm done, then we would have to recruit 15 new players out of nowhere and have to redo all progression pretty much from the scratch.
14.
So,
Voting no, you're a virgin, lol.
Probably get out this loot before it disappears also.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Gratz was dead, rip.
You know, honestly, I think marking ourselves instead of the mobs that we were kiting did so much, like, it was so much work.
holy shit, that kiting was insane though. Like
Yeah.
everything went wrong, we still made
Dokken
it
picked
somehow.
up
When
So
you,
we,
when
gonna
you
need the
skip
loot.
the Chromag bow and go straight to the KT bow, of course.
Yeah, give it
Yeah.
to Vorchi, dude. Cadet.
I think it'd be pretty dank for Cadet to say he has the bow on both of his characters. It'd be pretty dank.
Yeah, but he
Actually,
doesn't deserve
it would be a huge upgrade for me, but it's not that big of a deal. I was Saturday's bow.
Is this the first guild that cleared it on both servers?
Yeah.
I think it is. Okay, so the results are in like 12 people voted so far to prefer to end it at this point. So here's my thoughts on that. That's a quite large amount of players, and judging from like an Anathema how it went is like the the result was on Anathema we asked people to come back in the next week. We didn't even have a vote, and the result was basically like 20 people were missing without saying a word. So like I'd say that would be the end of waiting.
Just
then.
rest for fresh.
Like rest for fresh sounds like the
I have homework
That-
to do.
That being said, if you're 100% want to continue raiding and want to then rather join a different guild that still like raids Nax on this server, please say something now because we can respect that for the loot.
I'll
Because
probably
obviously
do that.
giving out loot to
Yeah,
someone
me
who's
too, if
about,
it gives me loot.
like someone's about to quit, like obviously doesn't need any loot, right?
I mean,
like,
for me, like, I'll be raiding until, or hopefully I could raid it after
Yeah, like, I was giving
reset
people the
too.
option, like if they wanted to raid, sure.
Yo, where's my gifts?
Or-
I gave you a bunch of shit. Where's my stuff?
But like from the poll result, again, 12 people, assuming those are not meme votes, right? 12 people said they'd rather quit and wait for fresh at this point. I respect that. It just means that, you know, do we now like pick up a fresh round of recruiting? And I would think that's not worth the effort.
Molenhoof deserves the shield. Give the shield to Molenhoof.
This,
Alright.
this
Do
is so
loot.
hard.
User joined your channel.
Alright, let's start on the loot here. The Rubian slave pick.
4G! 4G! Or me, I'll take it. I'll also have that.
If you want to become a slave.
Alright,
master.
if you don't literally blow all DKP that you have at this point.
Don't forget your +1 spell.
I have it +1 to be honest.
Okay, there's some memes in here.
I like how even at the last boss you get the worst loot.
I could use it, you fucks. Give it to me.
Sounds like a cadet item to me.
Well, the thing is, like,
Vorchi.
I'm gonna ask in private the highest person right now before I announce the winner, how much, like, if they do actually want to continue raiding, because I feel like if you give it to someone who's then just gonna quit is kind of a big move.
It's a rogue weapon IMO.
Wait, do they hear loot? Is Katie down?
It's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead.
We killed it and Shakur was the only survivor.
Yeah,
The
kind of
invasion
a
and
big
just
deal.
killed it.
And then shit
And the
Mike.
crossbow is going to Kel'thuzad for 1,971.
Ah!
You guys don't really deserve it.
Which is literally
You
all
actually
you
deserve
He
it.
doesn't. Win traded to rank 14.
There's the first character. Alright, Shield of Condemnation. I feel like a tank should be able to bid on this.
All
because
in, huh?
reasons.
Disagree.
No,
100%.
it's a log. Give it the fucking log.
As a tank, I disagree.
No, the amount of...
All in, huh?
I mean, it's the best tank shield because it has like 1,000 extra armor than any
I'm
other
trying
shield.
to
I don't
bid.
agree.
Fuck you, Nolan.
It's definitely a healing
I'm
shield
not
though.
sure it's happening. Let me just say, like, a tank right now would have to bid.
You're like 6,000.
Let me calculate this.
Anyone that's
Right,
playing,
right.
send Tail
Impossible.
Sabo your mats, please. Tail Sabo your mats. Thank you. Appreciate
you
it.
Who?
If you want to win this as a tank, you need to bid
Someone
7,350.
All in, huh? Woo!
So,
King of the
Someone else
digits.
actually had Loot Master up until just now, apparently. Yeah, like I fixed it. Like I tried to give it out, and it's like you don't have Loot Master, so someone must have had it that whole time. Jump. Probably because I realized.
is this where we do the binding run?
Nice boots.
Yeah, that'd
Look
be
at that
nice.
fucking long. Look
No,
at
I
those
can't.
boots.
The binding run?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do a binding run.
Oh, hello, Doken.
The
Scarum is just pure pain and
Can we
suffering.
wipe Scarum for like 3
Yeah,
hours now?
let's go
I
scale.
mean,
Alright, at this point,
now.
the poll
Congrats.
result is updated with 34 votes in. 16 players said they'd rather prefer ending at this point, so, like, for sure this is the last raid on this server for Dankk Budz.
Yeah,
All in,
good.
huh?
Like,
Except for the binding
having
run.
to recruit 16
I was
more
so
players, I
predictable.
don't even want to start on that,
Just
honestly.
So
show
what-
up for Friday's raid next week. Let's clear some easy bosses, guys.
When are we doing Scarum? Or binding run? With the legendary YCB?
Alright, this shield going to Molyneux for 2,400.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, or deserve it.
Well done, Mullen.
Let's see, we have the worst ring in the game.
Think for stamina then.
Congrats 2XD for 1.
It's kind of good for PvP though.
It's
Damn
a
the
felt
ring, by the
paper
way.
ring.
We
You
should
should
have
make a special exemption here and let +1s be used.
No.
On that
On
very
the
ring.
phylactery or?
No, just on the ring.
Like,
Out of
nothing good
principle.
drops here.
Because you can't use the +1s anymore, so it doesn't fucking matter, right?
Yeah.
You get
You
another
go.
+1 on the fresh server. The system worked very well, and I think
No.
we're gonna continue it.
How about you use it here and it just takes it away from your next server?
I mean, we're not gonna you're not gonna keep it for next server, but we're gonna do the +1 system again.
I'm
like,
just being a
for-
dick.
Yeah. Okay, so this thing is going to 2XD for 3,000 TK.
Congrats, or deserve it.
Congrats.
Not bidding on the factory of Kel'thuzad.
And Ring of the Earth. We actually got garbage loot if you think.
Give it to Molenhof.
It's
They
kind of
fucking
like
modded our loot like they always do.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you surprised?
it's a fitting end. If you gotten like Rest of Kingsfall at the end, I would have been like, yeah, well, this is bullshit. This
Meanwhile, on Anathema,
this loot feels
wrestle
right at
and
home,
healing.
honestly.
And
I'm so
boys?
happy right now.
No world buffs.
0 world buffs. We beat the game legit.
Don't get too excited. We couldn't
Alright,
get
let's
more
see. We
merch.
have the Ring of the Earth Shatterer going in 3, 2, 1. Congrats, Nimshi for 2,614.
Yeah,
Congrats,
there he
Nimpy.
is.
And all flasks and gold to Tail Sabo.
And finally, the phylactery. Okay,
The
so
factory of
I
Kel'thuzad.
will link what this makes.
It's
the fo-
DPS only, right?
It's yes,
It
DPS
is.
only, and it's better for caster. However, since this is KT and the last raid, so may as well. So we allow this to go on a caster, and it is best in slot for mages, and it is best in slot for rogues and
Shadow
warriors.
Priest.
However,
That's
it's
Shadow
not,
Priest.
and for Shadow Priest, yes, but it is not best in slot in Nax for warlocks. if I'm not
Zil,
mistaken,
just
because
fuck
they
up this
just
bit.
can't afford it.
Break all
Minus
the
I just
records.
has one.
Oh,
Zil,
well,
just break all the records.
Let's see. I'm seeing like the highest number of all time here. This is the highest record of all time here. And I think this is a fitting entry where you will like this one. Congrats.
Yeah!
For 4,100 EKB.
Congrats, you win.
I think I bid more than that though.
He nutted.
You bid, but you didn't have that much.
Yo, Malik,
do
it's
too.
way cooler to just never turn it in, by the way.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, so let's make a cool
Legs.
Let's do the Jewish star with the shaman chain heels.
Yeah, let's do some screenshots in here. I mean,
Swastika, hello?
Don't stand in front of me, you fucking losers. I'm the coolest one here.
Here, I can arrange the Jewish star. I know how to make those if anyone wants.
Do it.
Okay, so, alright, let's do it. Let's have, Catalay stand where star is. Okay, and let's have, repels stand, where YCB is now, where star is. Okay, and let's have, Laquifa stand where star is. Okay, and then let's have, Mollenhoof stand where star is. And let's have
We're one shaman short, of course.
Paranapi, no, we're good. Paranapi stand where YCB is.
I'm already here.
Okay, oh, did I already sign you?
Yeah, we have 7 shamans instead of 8.
Oh, my bad, okay, let's have
You need to
psilocybin.
have like a 6-sided star.
Hold on, have Nimshi stand here. Wait, how many? We need 6 to make it.
Yeah, you need 1 shaman less. Let me say that this is an octagon, you set it up wrong.
No, this is a Jewish star. We just need 1 more shaman where star is, and it's a Jewish star.
Yeah, but we'd only have 7.
We only need 6.
Yeah.
No, Silo is standing here. You can stand there.
Yeah, Silo comes in where star. Okay, now if
You want Star of David or Seal of Solomon?
No, Jewish star, Jewish star. No,
I think
okay,
they're both
so
Jewish stars.
here, hold on, listen. Turnipi is gonna chain heal to Nimshi. Nimshi's gonna chain heal to psilocybin. Psilocybin's gonna chain heal to Turnipi. And then Repels is gonna chain heal to Laquifa. Laquifa is gonna chain heal to Chatelet, and Chatelet is gonna chain heal to Repels. If you all do it at the same time,
Let's do it a couple times and then make a cool
Yeah, shoot.
If you here, we gotta count it down. Like do a countdown, and we'll make a Jewish star.
That's
And here's your countdown. Land your spells on 0.
Yeah, you gotta actually cast it, or it won't work. Psilocybin's not casted. Oh, I saw it for like a split second.
There was a try.
One more.
Surely we can just like all cast it at the same time, right?
I don't know. You
Cast
saw
it
how
on,
long it took us to
start
kill
casting
KT.
on 0. Start casting on 0.
Alright, start casting on 0. Okay, so start casting on 0. Okay, so start casting now. Alright, here we go. Jewish star.
Oh, someone.
Kinda
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
look
no,
right.
that was it. That was it.
Did someone make a screenshot? 'Cause I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
hold on, let me get the screenshot. One sec.
We should make a pentagram too.
Hey, but at least you
Swastika?
Alright,
What
okay,
is-
so hold on. Okay,
Porto
let's see.
Bar.
Chatelet come to circle. I wanna like make
I
something.
think we're all gay.
Chatelet come to circle. Alright, and then let's see. Repels come to follow circle and get over here.
Almost like dick or something.
And then let's have Lafrika come to circle now. And then let's see, so this would be Mollenhoof is already in the right spot, and then Nimshi. Okay, so the order is Chatelet cast Repels, Repels cast Mollenhoof, Mollenhoof cast Nimshi, Nimshi cast Lafrika, and Lafrika casts Chatelet. Alright, you start casting on 0.
Oh wow. Somebody
snowballed
me.
Lol.
Yeah, I'm
Alright,
posting,
again. It'll work eventually.
Money's running out of snowballs.
Oh!
I posted the Jewish star.
Oh!
in Discord.
There it
We
is.
did it!
Yeah, with the Jewish star, by the way, it's definitely Jewish star. There's just like 1 extra chain heal from like a random shaman for some reason. But aside from that, it's like clearly
Alright,
Jewish
okay.
star.
Let's go make the screenshot and then let's meme around those rooms.
Get to the throne.
Taking screenshots of the raid com and so like this is all immortalized.
Give Moke's like size increasing consumables.
Let's take off these things. Yeah, let's take off the symbols.
going to be
elixir of
Big
giant grip.
E.
Yeah, I took a fireball. Fireball.
Officially better than Titans of War at this point.
True.
Hey!
True.
Shout out to all the people who weren't here.
I pushed you up.
I have no like good space to make this picture, but I'm gonna go to the middle here. Say cheese and start making screenshots. Like how Melanie was turned around so that he could see shield and
Yeah.
stuff. Alright, everyone go flex in 3, 2, 1, flex.
No, this new keyboard. Went to press the screenshot button and I signed out of Windows.
Alright, flex in 3, 2, 1.
No, logging back in. The
This
screenshot.
is surely a good one.
Is that those binaural beats that are going to make us like grow our hair back?
It's ASMR.
Dab.
Everyone sapper.
Yeah, should we all sapper at the same time and do a screenshot?
Oh yeah,
my
there's a
God.
screenshot of Zipper. Alright.
Someone do it?
Hold on, I need a sapper. Someone trade me one of the stacks.
Trade those
Not
with you,
happening.
Zephyr.
Everybody just set their fucking cooldown off, so it's not happening.
Yeah, with 40 seconds.
Oops, I'm retarded.
Let's go.
The
Get
only
to
thing we're
position.
good at is
I'm gonna count
ganking
it down. Let's sapper in 5,
We're
4.
longer.
Okay.
Last way. 20 seconds.
I'm gonna make it like this.
It's very true.
Unfortunately, it has an exit in the middle of the screen, but it still looks cool.
Easy loot,
Hey,
boys.
alright, we
See
did
old
it.
faggots never.
And alright, so officially, like, just from the poll result at this point, we're like to an absolutely like, if assuming these 16 votes aren't a joke, like take a third of the raid and
Finding
just remove it,
room.
and find a third of the raid again in fresh recruits.
That might actually be an upgrade.
IMO, it would be a complete redo of the exact same thread. We would have to redo all progression, and that goes against what I said at the start. We can down if it's farm runs, if you're like down to farming this every week, that's okay. But if like 15 people or more like want to quit, then that's just, you know, we would have to like consume this hard like every single week from now on and do Friday raids. Then I'd rather prefer we ended on a high note. Like we've beaten the game.
Wanna watch the Sadius for a couple hours?
It was a quite good
Distribute
journey.
all the gold, hello?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, give us
I'll do
gold.
something like that.
By the way, if you guys want to join, Forge made a pretty dank guild. Just /who Forge if you're trying to join.
Why? What about can't even kill Cthulhu?
I killed Nalta, how much splinters did you end up getting?
Let's see.
So you needed
39.
40. Oh, that would be sad.
Nah, like 29. Yeah, 29.
Oh yeah, we're like several weeks away from
Yeah, that's pretty far.
That's really far. And you need
Yeah,
to
it's like 2 weeks.
you need to finish it, then kill Cthulhu, and then kill KT right
Yeah.
afterwards.
That's
Gonna happen.
Don't fuck up the goal rank in case they like
Merge it later.
merge.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna completely
What?
fuck it up, but I think I'll like give
They
them a
are
go.
merging everything to fresh at some point.
Are you guys down for like the next merge?
Yeah, so
You think they're gonna do that?
Yeah, probably.
They said they are.
Well, if they
Okay.
make another fresh, they'll merge it. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Which
we're
they will,
gonna
because
do.
Blizzard will drag their fucking
Right.
nuts in the sand.
But I mean, yeah.
Gratchy really is like, I don't care if I get banned now.
Blizzard
Boy, you're
Vanilla
never gonna
should
log
be
on
out
again.
before KT.
I'm gonna
Like,
go
oh,
and like have a little like resume, like just because YCB did it on Athema and I found it very endearing. I'm gonna do the same thing here. So I have like not really a speech. I'll
That's
just
right,
say a
cut my
couple words
balls.
about like everyone who's in the raid right now because I thought it was really endearing.
And
But
the
obviously
people on
we
the bench,
start
of
with
course.
we
Feel
start
like
with
you
our
had-
main tank who's like we've had some problems
Who?
in the past, so I've had some like dank moments. And
Fucking dank mooks.
he's one of the few people in this guild who's been in the guild longer than me, and I learned I got to know him like on an Athema as the second tank, and he eventually switched to his mage after we started here on Fresh, so
Turned
we had
his
the
ass.
opportunity to main tank. And always a Dankk person, always high, of course. And we have Lemmy Tank, who's like his up and downs in the guild. He joined and was a little conflicted with how we run things here, which ended with a very funny copy pasta that's sticky in the Lightbringer Discord, if you want to read it. And he basically quit on us. And then came back a couple months later, and then he had his redemption arc and worked very well. And we have Dead Scared, who was joined like a long time ago. I think he was 3rd tank or even 4th tank at some point, and just worked himself up the ranks by merit of other tanks quitting. Always a pretty calm guy, but always very good. And we have Shadowley. Shadowley I got to know on Old Elysium, if you remember that server. We played together in the guild Goon Squad, and he just rolled over to like the then new Elysium and played the Shaman back then, played the Shaman now. I think he found his calling there. Yeah, Goon Squad, exactly. 2xDs were like one of our best warlocks, obviously. So like he's usually the one that, you know, if I have to like call out the warlocks on something bad, like I don't mean him usually. Like where's my notes? It closed. No.
Steph is cheating, by the way, guys.
Did they have a pre-written speech?
Little.
Speech.
Guys, you need a speech in German.
Oh man.
Not
Plagiarize another German leader's speech, of course.
Yeah, please do it, Sophie, please. I beg you.
Oh god.
Please.
But you won't understand a single word.
That's fine.
Doesn't
As long
matter.
as you sound like Hitler, it will be fine.
Just add the Juden once in a while, it will be fine.
Yeah. Did just Cadet move himself to group 2 so he's early on the speech?
Shakur wanted me to
Oh no, Shakur, you're not escaping here.
I'm special, hello? I am more important than anyone else here.
Alright, so Karate Quinn was a recruit from, I think Cadet got him in, and I was like really skeptic at the start, because you know, the kind of person Cadet is usually doesn't mesh that well with the guild, but it worked out really well, and he was like one of the most loyal members in the end. It was really good all the time. Reds really deserve it. Okay, Reds really deserve it. I also got to know an old Bootstrap where he played a mage. So he rolled a mage on New Elysium, and then spurred out, got kicked, had a redemption arc, and then switched his main to a warrior. So that's quite a story. And his warrior got like a little geared in whatever for the time being. And I told him always, you should come to our guild where you actually get gear, because they didn't give him like anything pretty much. And like he joined, and then like a bad string of loot happened, and he didn't get anything for months. So I was like,
Monkey News, you really deserve it.
I was like looking so bad after that. I was so sorry for him at the time, because like I promised him loot, because like we wouldn't treat him like a second-class citizen. But then he joined, and then nothing dropped at all. And sometimes he got cucked by the rules, and sometimes it was actually deserved, because like, yeah, you're not an orc, of course. Repel's one of the Team Thundering Legion recruits. Had a funny moment with him where at the start he had like we had this really bad impression on Cthulhu, and they quit and then came back later, so I really appreciate like sticking out for us. And then okay, Shakur. Let's move Shakur at the
Come
very
on,
end.
baby, don't hold
Not
back.
too late
I
to
want it
G-kick.
all.
Yeah, I'm gonna move it back to the very end there, because this will take a moment. Nimshi also, I think you've been there from the start, right? I'm not mistaken. Nimshi?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just...
Nimshi was like
That did not sound like Nimshi. You probably just skip and come back.
Yeah, so Nimshi is our resident and
Macho man.
person.
Person
of sexual
took me like 3 months to realize Nimshi wasn't a girl.
Oh yeah, Shadowley, sticky that by the way. I think you should have the roles for that. And see, like Gracious you see in Discord in Lightbringer chat. Yeah, see, Gracious posted something like, I don't think I can come to raids, and I'm not honored, and I don't think this guild can clear nags before fresh.
Humble brag.
Did cut it close.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So Nimshi is our resident, homosexual.
What?
Everybody clap, please.
Everyone knows.
So brave and
But it's
progressive.
very
Inspiring.
Whoa.
I think there has been at least one situation where, and I hope I don't put you on the spot there, but where like some healer mistakes happened. We asked what happened. It was some explanation of something. I'll paraphrase here, but like I'm getting finger blasted under my desk.
Just like sitting on a fist, by the way.
I will honestly admit that things have happened while raiding.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah.
Things have happened to my ass.
Spongelet and his unspeakable name, who's been like in the guild for like not a long time ago, but has been one of the most dedicated members in terms of bringing consumables. I've never seen someone willing as much to part with his own stuff without like complaining about it. I think like you still have how many flasks left right now?
Thanks, bro. I have like 11 on me, and then
Give it to Tail Sabo.
and then I've got enough for like 40 in mass.
Yeah, so like usually you have a lot of people sharing their stuff, but they usually want it back. Spondlet is just trading like stacks of flasks like when we needed it, and he didn't even ask for them back. Like it was very cool. Obviously, like I would have compensated it. Like Guildbank's still rich technically. And then Lafrika has been a guild recruit as of this weekend, which is pretty funny. You join and then you're like immediately down for killing KT. And I think we got you in on the Friday raid, and you raided with us, and I pulled you down to the officer channel and asked, so what do you think? And you tried really hard to not tell us, like, by the way, this guild is fucking retarded. But I'm glad you stuck out until the end.
We know already.
Yeah, I think everyone knows at this point. And Warshi is joined, and it was the sole reason for getting mega triggered. It was quite funny because we had a hunter in the raid, and Cadet's been busy in his progress raid and wanted to come to the raid, but then like, okay, so the following situation happened. Raid was full, he was late, and we just asked Warshi to make space on the KT attempts because we needed to get Soko in, because that's like, you know, twice the DPS. Not no offense, but it's just a mage, right? And so I felt really bad if I now kicked another person just to get the hunter back in, but it's not the hunter that we asked to quit earlier. So I told Cadet, no, sorry, you have to stay out. And then Cadet worked really hard out, but it's really funny in the end. And Boneman, obviously one of the Dindus, one of the least Dindus. Like, always done his job. Like, I don't think he's ever said a word actually in voice. So,
he did the most DPS on Cthulhu. Shout out to that.
He did like he has done like very good, and we gave him like, I think he got a death sting, one of the few.
Stop using Dindus derogatory, it triggers me.
We have like what, 2 Dindus in the raid at this point? 3 if you count Felpaper. We got more support.
Who counts him at all?
Their proper
You guys
is
did to
Dindu
yourself.
American.
And we have Trux, the Eternal. Is he gonna quit next month or not? Question mark in the guild. Like
PPs, by the way.
Trux has been like, in hindsight, has been very loyal to the guild. But there's always been cases of like, oh man, I'm gonna quit if this happens, or I'm like, this is retarded, I'm out, or something like this. And I was always worried about like, at some points, not always obviously, that something really bad might happen. Even though he had like, you know, one of the best guild warriors always. Also he PvPs, by the way. And we have Fafnir, the resident turbo nerd, and shit poster, and basically the bad cop to my already bad cop side.
Pessimist.
Yeah, and pessimist. But
See you nigs at Rag.
Yeah. But always like 100% attendance pretty much, and has helped out the guild on numerous occasions with like, how many warrior ults do we have right now, just in case we needed extra tanks? Like 2?
Yes, I have 3 right now. Actually, 4, counting the secret ult.
In the end, we didn't need it, but he made like several ults to use in case we needed extra tanks for horsemen, and geared them at other raids that people may not have been aware of. We kept it on the down low so that people don't think they're gonna get replaced by an ult or something like this. But that's just a really cool thing to do. Alright, so then come the token. Token's like, I think it's fair to say he's been like one of the few tanks that's actually okay with being an off tank. Usually you have this like main tank syndrome where everyone wants to be like the big guy, and
let me tank, please. Yeah,
let me. And but Doken's always been like okay with doing whatever is necessary, and has always usually kept a real level head. God, gotta drink something here real fast.
Calm.
Refreshing.
Oh, so real life doctor probably has the best career if you don't count Thorath in this guild. Yeah, and he's gonna treat YCB one day and like make sure he doesn't die at 40.
Understandable.
And we have Simon, who's a reroll from Anathema. Backstory here, he raided as a rogue on Anathema, and one day we had free-for-all on Nefarian on, and Prestos dropped. And we asked everyone to pass, and everyone did, except one. And that was the day we parted with him, but then he came back for fresh and rolled a Shaman. And backstory here is, you know, we're like a guild, we're usually known for being pretty blazed up, so like Simon, or Babe, as he was called in Anathema, is like by far the most blazed out person in the raid, pretty much at any given time. So it's pretty respectable that he managed to do Cthulhu mechanics, KT mechanics, with like, okay, I only want to guess just how high you are right now, but thanks for coming, man. We have
Understandable.
We have Malik, who's so respectable in the guild that I've gotten like 5 whispers to give him Gressel like on the spot when KT dies if it drops. Like straight up just loot cancel it to him.
Absolutely.
So like that speaks for his qualities by himself. Never like, I don't think I've heard a single complaint from him or about him in the entire server time. And he has been, if you look at lifetime DKP, I think he has like one of the top 5.
Near perfect attendance too.
Near perfect attendance. Always like even donates and stuff like that. Like really textbook raider.
Model raider.
Like let me
Who you
sort
talking
my
about?
Malik.
Malik.
Yeah, he's number 6 on the lifetime DKP at 19,000 DKP for lifetime. Yes. Yeah. Alright, so Tel'Savo joined the guild when Titans and Ward failed. He whispered me, okay, like let's start at the beginning. He played on Chronos 1 with YCP, and that's how they got to know each other, and that's how he got to know like sorta our guild, what we're about. And then when he rolled here, we had an opportunity to recruit him because he asked us about it, and honestly I forgot his application for a week, and when I got back to him he already joined Titans of War, and I was so sad the entire time that I fucked that up. And then I was so happy eventually when we managed to talk it out that he would join, and it worked out in the end. Like he's a huge popular streamer obviously, so, and
not that popular.
Very big
Who?
DPS.
Who?
Literally who?
Also, if you've noticed, remember yesterday when like the priest shackles all broke because the priest shackled extra? Like turns out that was just not the priest, that was Tel'Savo whirlwinding 3 fucking guardians.
You're welcome, boys. You're welcome.
Understandable.
Zill is also a streamer apparently.
He's
Just
a fucking cuck.
No.
Ziltoid.
isn't it Ziltoid?
Ziltard.
Can't say
Shit
that.
toys.
He just records.
Oh no.
Apparently.
Apparently.
Streamer, by the way.
Progress starter pack. Turn my stream on 4 viewers.
Yeah, always like one of the most long-standing, near-perfect attendance. Obviously, like in general, like all the mages have been doing really well on the server, contrary to Anathema.
Hold up.
Yeah, hold.
Hey yo, hold up.
Like it's as if we like on Anathema we had like extremely competitive and dedicated warlocks with like perfect attendance in every single consumable and every single pull, and then our mages were like a bunch of ragtags, like shit posted each other and giggled like madmen when they pulled Fireball and Chromax and did 3,000 DPS in the end. Shakur, we'll get to him at the end. And then it's quite funny to see that the same dedication and towards the class is just on the opposite class this time. Find it really funny. Molinov, the other Dindu in the raid right now. Our big guy with the big shaman shield. Always been one of the more quiet ones. Like usually all the Dindus were like very vocal about what they were doing. And Molinov has sort of like flown under the radar for a long time. At times I completely forgot that he was like from that guild originally, which I think that's a pretty good like thing to say, all things considered.
One of us.
One of us. Yeah, and also probably the best meme songs on the Plug DJ from him, like straight up the binaural shit is what he started, I think. And we have the resident sweet meme speak man, resident meme speak man plus part of the Baba Man and the Stakabamoka meme, and also the person who has the guild record for highest lifetime DKP. So he's number 1 at 20,470 DKP. Pretty much perfect attendance and like every single highest class donation or the highest donation options for the entire server. Like very dedicated person, very good, very vocal and funny too. And obviously like a barrel of laughs and like another random Swedish meatball team coming in. We have Vanaros. I'm not sure what the you actually are.
Don't worry, you don't need to say anything. He's AFK, he's not listening.
Oh, he's not? Oh, great. Well, I still say some nice things.
Probably on Facebook.
Probably the best Shadow Priest we've ever had. Because we tried a couple and most of them didn't work out. Veneroth really pulled his weight. On some attempts, on some bosses, he straight up had like, you know, top 5, top 10 DPS, beating some actual DPS classes. Started pulling like Flask on every single boss, even on farm raids. Very dedicated, very, you know, like more tryhard than the average build. But like that's something you just want from a Shadow Priest. So that's very like I like to see that. And I hope we have like such a good Shadow Priest on the next server as well. And then you can't forget the fact that he's like has some mild Japanese humor in there thrown somewhere. Plus, the other funny thing is when sometimes you ended up with like shadow word pains on mobs that were kiting and they came back and stuff like that. That's just the cost of having like a very try-hard person in the raid. Like they'll find ways to boost their DPS, and sometimes just like really strange things happen. It's okay though in the end. Like in the end, you want that. Alright, then we have Nicholas, or as you may otherwise know him as the Niggurass.
Nicholas.
The Niggurass.
Well.
Again, one of our good mages has like the same good attendance as Zill already, and has always been there. Has always found ways around.
Nicest guy I ever met.
Very nice person, and in general, I have very little complaints about all our mages. Like there'll be a couple repeats here, but in general, all our mages were very fantastic. The ones that weren't quit relatively early. And I think Nicholas was one of the few that offered to be like dedicated winter chill at Immortal Core, if I'm not mistaken. So that's always a big question mark if you want to go to good numbers, and one of the mages or two of the mages have to go winter chill just because. So that's a good thing. Assuming I'm like remembering things right now. Also, yeah, he is also from Old Elysium, came from that same guild that all the other memers came from. And even played on the same name, so yeah, shoutouts for that. Fair praise, we've already from mage to mage, like no complaints there. Like more calm guy. I don't think he says that much, but when he does, it's like a little soft-spoken voice. And
next guest for your room.
Really high.
I talk all the time, dude.
Freeze is the homie.
So
like
sorry.
super big.
So Freeze is the guy that sounds like Mater from Cars.
And then we have
I want to know what he's on.
And Varen's story is he was a priest on Anathema, and we always wondered what was going through his head. He started this meme where he was like on random bosses waiting for a pull. He would just like be in a corner, look at the corner, and start like squatting as a troll priest. And he would just squat, and we did the troll ritual eventually where everyone squatted. Like it's always a big riddle to figure out what's going through his head at any given time, but obviously a hugely like good priest. I mean, like he's been there on 2 successful KT attempts at this point. Like he's just has the same thing as Babe, where he's like blazed out of his mind at all times. That's always probably why he doesn't talk either. Yeah, and then YCB obviously. So YCB is the original founder of the guild and started the guild back in like what 2015.
Yep.
Yeah. So
first day of Nast.
Yeah, first day of Nast. Like probably the chillest guy on the entire server, would never tell someone like something bad no matter what. Is the constant source of Shakur's harassment because of that. Is he's too nice to tell someone that they're like doing something wrong even if they're doing something wrong. And will never ever get mad, has always like a positive outlook on everything, and is a huge pillar of the guild, and it wouldn't be the guild without him. Like the super Subway man as well. We make fun of him, but like a man loves what he loves. And we have
Thank you.
we have our little resident Dindu hater, Mr. Daynar, joined very early on the start of the server, and I think when he joined together with a slew of other players who turned out not so great. So it was a huge question mark for a while, would that even work out? But it worked out in the end very well, so like I'm very happy about that. Very funny accent, not often you see like Eastern Europe players in, you know, in a Western guild, because you typically like, the mentality doesn't really work out. But this worked out pretty well. Has something against Fellpaper. It has something going
I
there.
wonder why
I'm not
anyone
sure
does.
if it's like straight up
He's
hate or like hate love, but like keep it up. I mean, let's not forget our resident punching bag, Fellpaper.
Boo! This kid's fucking trash.
I'm sure